Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, once more. Welcome back to From the Tea Break. Tea to get up on see better pang one. We are back now for the mixed voices. We are done with the male and female voice. We are going to start with the song by Utata Umelisizwe Kazwana. You remember yesterday we indicated that sizawucela uButmelisizwe angene angene through either a video so that athethe live as one of our composers as Saphilayo. However, we encountered a technical challenge because from his side akazukwazi ukukhupha voice, but what he did, ladies and gentlemen, he sent the voice note explaining about the song. This is what we are going to do because we don't want to tamper the information yakhe about his songs. Into esizawuyenza sizawudlala la audio yakhe. Please listen to it. Our technician here indicated ukuba ngaba nizawuyiva sound from your side apho ku YouTube. Am I correct, my brother? So when idlala nizawukwazi ukuyiva ethetha. And even if online, my brother Putmelisizwe, may you kindly please add more on what you said if you feel that there is a need to say anything once more. Colleagues, I think we should start. Is the link sent already to?
Good evening, sir, and thank you so much for making contact with me.
Our music scores, and look from bar one or first page of the song, and listen to what he's going to say. Thank you so much. And then after that, what we are going to do, we're going to zoom straight to the pieces that is handled. And then we finish with Ayukwindala Makrestu Ungobe. And maybe if we find time here, there are some sections that we may have to sing in this song. Ne? So that is benayo at least the feel of the song. Thank you so much, my brother.
Good evening, sir, and thank you so much for making contact with me. I'm not sure what you're looking for in particular, so what I will try and do is just to give you a brief overview of what I see the song to be, or what came into mind when I was writing the song, or what inspired the composition itself. So basically, each and every 5 years, La Eswatini, there is what we call a double celebration. A double celebration, it's always done to mark a celebration, yeah, independence and the king's birthday. The king was born the same year the country got independence, but his birthday is on the 19th of April. Independence is on the 6th of September. So, for instance, this year we are marking it on the 6th of September. The celebration is happening at the Somhlolo National Stadium on the 6th of September. It's always a huge deal, ngapa, every 5 years. So in 2018, we were celebrating 50 years of the independence, 50 years of the king's birthday. So we were commissioned to song, get to say, can we come up with it's either you are writing just a song, or can you write a stage play, something of the sort, to actually mark the celebration of 50 years of independence and the king's birthday. So that's where the song actually came about. It was in January of 2018. We had to submit these songs. The commission came from the Eswatini National Choral Music Association, but they too were tasked by the Eswatini National Council of Arts and Culture, because the Association of Choral Music affiliates under the Eswatini National Council of Arts and Culture. That's the body that looks after the arts sector in this country on behalf of the Ministry of Home Affairs and Arts and Culture. Sorry, Arts and Culture and Sports. Yeah, so that's how the commission came about. Um, Originally, the song beyiqala at where it begins at sorry, where it says where the imbongi comes through, bar number 28. That's where the song actually was starting from. When I wrote the song, that's where I had actually begun the whole piece. If ngingacacisa, if you listen to the piano laphana ekuqaleni in that section, bar number 28, it is actually playing a rhythm of a song. It's called Lakangwane Balsike Malayin. Lakangwane Balsike Malayin. Um, it's a song that goes together with the other theme that comes through, where the soloist comes in at number 90, Zulu uthi ayihlome. So Lakangwane Balsike Malayin, it's a song that spoke about how Swaziland was cut and divided, when the country was being demarcated into the four regions: Hoho, Shiselweni, Manzini, and the Lubombo region. So if it's quite fast paced lapho with the piano, but it goes la kangwane balisike malayin ho ho ga ho ho. So if you listen to the piano, da di 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 da da di 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 da 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 di 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 da 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 di di da 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 la kangwane balisike malayin. So when it plays lapho to someone all Swatini, it resonates with them, because they can actually identify with the song. Oh, this is a theme of a song that holds such significance. Laphayana kule piano. It only that changes uma sengena ngifuniseni ondlebe sikhanyilanga. So originally that's where the song started from. But in the morning when we were supposed to submit the song, just something just came to me, and it was like, no, you know what, something is missing in the song. Maybe some introduction. That's where the opening aria, Buya Game, came about. My brother he's a very good, baritone. He was at TUT at the time. So I'm over here in Eswatini. I give him a call. Look, the song is missing something. Can I write something? There's something in Shisayo, inside, that I feel I should be writing, and I'm writing this specifically for you, and you will come back to me and tell me if iyafita na. So I wrote this in about 30 minutes. I had sent it to him, and luckily he was in his rap class, so he gave it to a pianist, and they worked on it, and he sent it back, and that's how Buya Game came about. So that's how the aria, the opening aria, then came about in the song. But Buyagimi basically, it speaks about thina ngapha eSwatini, unlike in South Africa. Ngapha eSwatini we did lose our land. In actual fact, we did lose the land, but we lost the land to the British. So the British actually took over running this country, and at the time we were being run from Pretoria. Um, so uma befika bona ngapha, Sopuza was king, and they took the land the king was only recognized as a paramount chief because everything was being run from Pretoria now. If you may research yourself, the lands angapha boPongola up to boPalito, that was actually Swaziland. The lands in Pumalanga or Kwandebele, that was Swaziland. But the British took the land over, and uma sebeyibuyisa, it was actually quite lesser than what it was when they took over. So Buyagimi, it speaks about how Swaziland, the beauty of the country, and how it was so beautiful, and how the British actually saw and heard of this and thought, listen, we need to just take this country over, and they took it over. um, and uma sebeyibuyisa, it wasn't what it was uma siyiluza. So Ubuya Game speaks about the beauty of the country, the beauty of the vegetation, beauty of nature, yeah, and how we lost the country. Originally, it was written specifically for him because I was like, look, let me write this in as much as, because I knew myself, would say probably it will be something that I will end up performing throughout the year, not just the competition itself. So it was written for Rutando. He is a baritone that has quite the, the tessitura range yake. He goes as high as, and wide, if you have heard him singing. So that's the type of voice probably that could actually nail the song. So in Iona as a whole, it is in 5 sections. There is Buyagimi, and then there is Halalangwane from bar 28 to 89, with the emphasis on the use of Bondlebe's Kangilang. They gave us the land, but they never thought we were going to run this country. And we were actually celebrating 50 years and saying, where are you? Where are they? Bona, who thought we were not going to run this country. So, and then when we get to the third section, nabo besuka ngesheya kwetilwandle, um, bafika eSwatini. Now, the section leyo, I think people need to understand what's happening. Laphayana ku piano, the piano is playing ingoma yemhlanga. I don't know if you know the reed dance. It's called umhlanga. So umba seyifika laphayana, the piano, yes, it starts with something else, and then quickly it changes into the song yemhlanga. If you listen to it, uthuzulu kayihlome thina samba mbuzulu sesaba kwaliwa tikhuluta kangwane thina samba ambuzulu. So the piano is playing that lapha ngaphansi. The soprano though is now doing what is ngesintu to us. Umusic wethu ngesiswati is only iba nemelody nje A1, ayiharmonize ayendi lutho. It's always kungamane kube nekokuthi this one is singing at a higher octave, this one mid octave, this one at a lower octave, but we sing the same melody thina engalana eSwatini. So uma ayicula ke yena, she is doing this portamentos, I understand. For instance, asengikubekisela, nabo besuka ngesheya kwetilwandle. The Zulus nemaswati are almost the same, but i-difference yethu nemaswati is in one word. I'll make an example ngeligama linye, just one word. The Zulus, uma bathi bona the word bayet, they say bona bayethe. So it goes up. Bona bayethe. Thina ngala Swatini, it's the direct opposite. Bayethe. And then the te ngiyena aphezulu, but lento lena eglidayo, it goes down as opposed to up. So Zulus go bayethe, thina it is bayethe. nabo besuka ngishiya kwetila tati tata tati tati. So iqhamuka lapho ke this thing oyibonayo ke kulawo malayini ke it is Siswati when Maswati do their traditional singing see approach her that way. So the unison yona uma ingena ekhaya bakafulwa lwandle. Our music traditionally it is only melody ingamane ihlukaniswe yini ngama octaves kuphela. Someone is singing ku octave ephezulu, someone ikanjalo. So that's how we approach music wethu thina. Now it has itaya notes ayi-5. Itaya notes ayi-5. Da 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 dee ya de da 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 da. If you watch my females bafati when they do kuthamba, it's called kuthamba. It is a traditional dance yabafati bomake, bomama, bomama, yes, bomama. It is when they move their feet. Utola this thing. It doesn't it has a movement here an odd number and always even around five. So that's why you're going da 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 ya di da di da din da 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 da. So it is uma ungayithola. I think now on YouTube probably you could actually find it. Kutamba, it's called Kutamba. You will see it lapha phansi, the footwork, yeah, bola bomam. It's always on an odd number, uyayibona. Yeah, but five, the movement, I'm not sure if ngichaza kahle. That's why we are finding notes that are tied abeng five lapho. But the story lapho is in a nutshell what actually happened. It's very, very short, but it has everything that actually happened, narrated by the soprano soloist. Basuka ngesheya sasinesilo, kwasuka belumbi ngesheya beta Eswatini, bakhafulwa lwandle belumbi beta Eswatini. Sasinesilo bafika baphikisa. So they say he's not a king, he's a paramount chief. Uma bafika bona leSwatini. And then nabo bewela tilwandle banabhuza. Now it is the Swazi delegation going to Britain. The trip was actually 3 months long. Basebenzisa umkhumbi, a ship. Bahamba, and this is the story about Swaziland. Swaziland never fought for her land to come back. We never fought in 19 between the years when the negotiations began up until 1968. There was no fight, there was nothing. But there was a delegation which was made up of the king himself, civil society, and other formations that went to Britain to negotiate. We negotiated for Swaziland to come back. So that's what happened. Bahamba nabuza bayangesheya bangakaphathi umkhonto. No weapon, nothing. They had just gone there to negotiate. It took years, but in the end, um, we got the land back. But in as much as we got the land, because it took so long to actually negotiate for the land to come back, some of the people who started the negotiations were not there in 1968 when the land actually came back. Abambonanga ngwane akhululeka. Lathi libuya lona kuwo eMaswati, akusibo bonke bawubona mazibuse. Meaning, even though independence was finally won, not everyone who negotiated for it actually witnessed it. Abambonanga ngwane akhululeka. So, in a nutshell, that section actually narrates the whole story, and that is where it ends. Lapho how we negotiated and got the country back. Now, the section lena is for kwaphuma lilanga Eswatini. The king is called Lilanga. Uma ngabe the king comes, afika nje endaweni, you are actually going to hear praise singers speaking this thing, yeah, kwaphuma lilanga, nalo langa, langa, langa. Yeah, understand that they call him Lilanga. Yabona, Phuma Lilanga, kwaphuma Lilanga, meaning the king was born. Kwaphuma Lilanga eSwatini nga-68. Kwasukuma nemjeka nga-68. So the flag in 1968, the birth of the king in 1968, independence in 1968. It is it's quite short yona, but then the significance lapho kuphuma kwelanga, meaning the birth of the king. Lapho it narrates leso story leso. Yabona. And then it marries it with what kuphakama kwemjeka, kusukuma kwemjeka. Nasithi kwasukuma umjeka, we mean the flag was raised up for the first time ngaleso sikhathi lesi. Nalabo bebangakholwa kunamhla bayahalalisa. Everyone, even the ones who did not believe that we would make it to 50 years, is celebrating with us. The last section is a party, it is a celebration, it is lively, inalento leya, because now it narrates story mhla tisitfupha enyangeni, inyanga yenyoni ngundiphethe eSwatini. Mhla tisitfupha on the 6th, inyanga yenyoni, September yinyoni, it's called inyoni ngesiswati, ngundiphethe eSwatini, it's independence eSwatini. Sihalalisa emashumi lasihlanu, sakhululeka, sawutfola mazibuse. Sithi halala, halala, sithi halala. So lapho everything now is it's a celebration. Live lethu, live leMaswati linesilo semhlaba makhosetive. King Mswati, his name is Makhosetive Dlamini. That's his name, Makhosetive Dlamini. But then he is King Mswati. That's his name, Aniga Walona, when he assumed the throne. So Makhosetive inkonyane lemunya lapho seliphuma imbunga. It is, those are his praises. My praise singers uma bembongelela, those are his praise singers nje. Makhosetive inkhonyane lemunya lapho seliphuma lilanga. And then Pansesilo Lomabanza. Now that section leyo, I don't know, but uma sesifika kiyo, I always advise a change in tempo because it's just a mini contrast from what you were actually doing before. Pansesilo Lomabanza siphila ndzawonye. Lomabanza, it's his praise name nalo. It's something he is called. Lomabanza, inkosi Lomabanza siphila ndzawonye. Sive sethu siyinqaba. Now, Swazis, when they say sive siyinqaba, that is our coat of arms. I think that's South Africa, you have a coat of arms that has the Springbok, I think I forget the other one on the coat of arms as South Africa. In Swaziland, we also have a coat of arms that has the lion and the elephant. So Pansesilo Lomabanza, Sive Sethu Siyinqaba, meaning our country is a fortress, impenetrable. That comes from the time when Usopuza, the first, was king and Ushaka was chasing him around. He never conquered Swaziland, Ushaka. He never. It's one of the places that he never really conquered, Yenage, Ushaka. So, Sive Siyinqaba, that is our a motto as a country. And then the last section, it goes back to that lively tempo. Holo holo is actually the same as halala. Holo holo halala kula Swaziland. So in a nutshell, that's the story behind the song. For yeah, that's how I see it, and what came to mind basically Umangipala. In terms of what I have noted to be quite challenging for people when they sing and approach Siswati, it is, simple things. No, let me not say simple things. It is the pronunciation and enunciation of words. Ngesiswati, people confuse it with Zulu most of the time. A simple thing, bo ng. There is no ng in Siswati. There is ng, ng. Ngifuniseni, ngifuniseni, not ngifuniseni, ngifuniseni bondlebe sikhanya ilanga. Bebathi wena ngwane awunakutibusa khulumani baphi bondlebe sikhanya ilanga. Nabo basuka ngesheya, not ngesheya, ngesheya kwetilwandle. Sasinesilobaphikisa abambonanga, not nga. So such thing kwaphuma lilanga, mbonanga, lilanga. So yeah, those are the things to look out for. From the very onset, the very first section, kwakubuhlungu, kungelula, kwakubuhlungu, kungelula. Not kwakubuhlungu, kungelula. Nope, that is Zulu. Thina it is ng. Kwakubuhlungu, kungelula, kwehlukana nawe gugulami. Bukhatikati, bukhatikati bebuhle bakho, bukhanga nangesheya. Wawusho ngebuhle bakho lobungenasici, nematsafa laluhlata klaba. Kepha kwakungasuwe wena kuphela, wawufunwa mhlaba wonke, wawufunwa. So then comes back so many times kuyo le ngoma, buya kimi gugulami, dange sengicabange kuthi uyawuke ubuye kimi gugulami. So that's where I feel siyaye silahle khona when we sing Siswati. The pronunciation, how we pronounce the words, is of paramount importance to us, because Maswati are sensitive. The moment evang, then you've lost them somehow. So asina yetinengi anywhere. Another thing to actually look out for, um, um, it is the consonant lena, let's see, ts, ts. What often happens is ulalela uma soyilalela, you are going to have an overemphasis on ts. It ends up being a bit untidy. Gani to us, sithi halala. It's always almost passive. Siyendlula sithi halala, sithi halala, halala, sithi halala. It is a sithi halala, halala, sithi halala, sithi halala, halala, sithi halala. So T, the consonant T is always a bit more exaggerated than uts. Siyendlula, siyendlula, sihamba siyendlula, sithi halala, halala, sithi halala. So ingabi too much on lots yebo, but that's, it must sound as if siyendlula. So Siswati is not as aggressive, is not as hard on our consonants as Sizulu is. In as much as Sizulu and Siswati kuhambisana ncamashi, but it is not as hard sonak as Siswati. So in as far as the language is concerned, those are the few things that I would say people should actually look out for when they approach music. Now, there's also the issue of rhythms. Rhythms to us, Siswati nje, when we do Siswati nakhona rhythmically, it's one language lenawo rhythms. Two, Siswati, for us to make a point, unlike the other Nguni languages, thina sisebenzisa emagama lamaningi to make a point. For Siswati to make a point, to have an emphasis, it's always the usage of more words, akufani with other languages in the Nguni context. So utawuthola the rhythms, utawuthola nemagama most of the time. Yeah, so bayina-ke indzaba ye rhythm nakhona is the same thing. Ecale ya ti ti ta 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 ri ya ta 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 ti ti ta 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 ti ya ta ta ti ri da di ti tan tan ti ti ri da da pa pam pam pa. So inako kuba Siswati kuba na highly rhythmic, because we use a lot of words tsine, unlike I always make a reference to Sizulu. So yeah, rhythm nana corner, it is something to look at. But if you do have probably questions beyond this, I'm more than open to engage. So for now, this is what I think the song is. Obviously, the people, to make justice to music, it's always the people who perform the music themselves. They actually bring out some things that we never even thought of ngaleso sikhathi, but which actually heighten the beauty of a song. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is Buya Kimi Halalangwane. So thank you. Good evening, sir, and
uba ngaba isixhosa sithi akafuna ugxotshwa, I think colleagues uyicacise kakhulu and yayibona kuba ngaba how important le nto besiyithetha ukuba ngaba thina ngeke starch ezinye izinto. So, and thank you so much, thank you ever so much to Mr. Zwane, and thank you to our technical team for us assist, because if apha uyaqaphela ungene historical background which includes the synopsis of the song and weza ne cultural imperatives zengoma, yabo, and traditionally how it should be treated. Wabuya wathetha ngama rhythms, how do you execute the rhythms to music yengoku itself. Wabuya wazothetha nge-language on its own. Who are we ke ngoku thina ukuba ngaba siyigxobhe tishara? Thank you so much. What I think, colleagues, we may do for now, kukuba ngaba I will share the audio with Ezile, ne? So that Ezile can share to the WhatsApp group. Ne? I believe that there is a WhatsApp group here, conductors. Am I correct? Yeah. So ndive xa kuthethwa ngongangapha ndamva umntu akamthelele sekunini ndingangazi. So funeka utshintshe ke my brother. So nditsho ukuthi seligqibile yena kegeqwa. Ndimbone uthi so bendixaka uba uthe usongena ndabona ukuthi iqiphu umbilini uye nakona uba yeyi inoba uyayibona uba iyemka le 100. What do you think?
No, I think for the sake of time, and also because we have 3 more songs
Sure.
that we still need to cover, and we promised that all 3, or shall I say, Richard, you can't do this, about 3. Yeah, so whatever we still need to push must come. And iphinde ke ngokulento ithi kukho the recording is there and it still can be shared. That is much more authentic than we would have done it.
Sure. Yeah.
So do we agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. abanawusixolela pha embongeni hayi ndibuza ze ndikukreste
It's optional.
oh
It's optional, so you can do it, you cannot do it.
eyi ndingabethiswa yile mbongo ndingayifumani le 100 ngenxa le mbongo
So I think it's written optional.
It's optional.
By the way, yes, I'm checking. We will check on him whether until God get quick scope and the optional. Yeah. Any other questions?
Because even
colleagues?
we have to be relevant on what is being from a certain part to another part. So whatever that you come to recite as a should be relevant to the content
Sure.
according to
At the given time.
yes.
apha kupha 57 benke nganotha kwibhesi ndithena phaa ezantsi kwi-chorus.
Cool.
If you check the notes, last 2 beats 3 and 4
Yeah.
ucheke nezi bass zii-dissonance nje kulandelelana. So to check with him, is it deliberate?
57.
157 yes. 157. Last 2 beats 3 and 4.
Sure.
Just to
Bar
check
57.
Yes. Just to check as a dissonance by is it deliberate okanye
1 3 4 time, ne?
we are in 4.
page bani but
Page 28.
Page 28 bar
Yes.
157.
Oh, ndizobe ku bar 57. Not bar 157. Okay. Oh,
Who's by the rest is irrelevant.
So you mean harmonically speaking, yeah?
Together.
Oh, I see. Re mi fa re, do re mi do.
So is it
Oh,
deliberate?
Yeah, I see.
I see what you mean. Okay, we'll note that, bra, and have ke inatsika naye, ne? And a convo naye mhlambe to as indicated between but it's something from the accompanists. Let me highlight it. iPad mode I think no bube ne pen.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay, colleagues, for the sake of time, we are going to move to the Western pieces, much more on the from the censor. And you notice some of the things, as was mentioned apart, they imply. It will even talk to effect about you can try and mirror this part. But if we were to talk briefly about, again, I'm not going to dwell because of the length of the song. I'm not going to dwell more on the storyline except just the highlights. Solomon, sitting as Xhosa Solomon.
Oh.
Solomon. Abakumshaya bacho. Notice that he stresses on the first syllable. Solomon. Tina City Solomon. We'll talk about that later. Basically, historical Solomon, we all know it from the Bible. I need to highlight, first of all, we spoke about where you walk as being a rather secular piece, as opposed to oratorio, which is a religious piece. Oratorio, in this case, iti iculo li biblical. The story is biblical. History of Solomon siyasasebhayibhelini. And we were told of Solomon as being this wise king who was able to sort something two women thought it was so difficult to sort, fighting amongst themselves, until they had to go knock on the king's door to say, King, we have this dilemma. Sinalo mntana, so babini singabazalwa lo mntana. Umile lo mfazi uthi umntana ke nami ngowami. Ne? So long and short, Solomon has to come and give a direction in terms of what must happen. And then the best of options he had at that point, he says, okay, now that ingumntana wethu nobabili lo, makuze isode eyakuyangkumbi. So izijoni elijoni lathi lisike lo mntana phakathi. Wena ufumane half yakho, nalo afumane half yakho, so that ungamnandi yokuthetha. Wathi umunye umfazi, yes, do that better. And then the other one said, no ways, not in my life. Not ngowami umntana. Wathi, King, just for peace, I would rather have you give this child of mine to this woman. King then knew what to do. Because you just cannot, you cannot bring umntana to this world and still be the one. Of course today, oh my God.
Hey.
Yes, I must tell you, it was uncalled for. And so Solomon knew exactly what to do with that situation. So he said the child belongs to the mother who refused to have umntana cut into two. And then the other mother was then sent away, because it really tells that there's no way you can say umntana makanansikwe phakathi. And so umntana wanika umama ongowakhe. That's basically story of Solomon as we know it. According to the work here, it's got some alterations in terms of that story Bible here and there, not in a big way. We are also told that according to Handel, who really loved being in England because of the way he was treated, he actually dedicated this particular work to King George II, because he felt he is the Solomon of the time. And he was also thankful to the people of England for allowing him the space for living now. But again, there are also the politics, in fact, tell us different stories, that some didn't actually accept this notion. And so I would want you to actually go and read about that one, but it doesn't actually affect much in terms of what we are dealing with here. Just to take you on the scene of this particular chorus from the Sense Circling Rise. It is in part 2 of the work. The work is in 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So this one comes top of part 2, basically talking about the Israelites rejoicing and praising Solomon's good fortune, wishing him eternal life. Because people of Israel, they were being ruled by him. They knew, they saw his work. They are kind of, they have to praise him for the things he's doing, the way he's handling people, the way he's making people live. So this song basically is to praise him for the work that he's doing. And then you also hear the name David. David was Solomon's father. And Solomon had to build a temple dedicating to the fact that his father, it's something he had said before. Now he's building this temple to actually make sure he fulfills what the father had said. Yes. Before I go on to the music, do you actually have any question or something you want to add about Solomon, the story? Any question?
Hey, uyasithinta bhuti kungecawe nyethu.
Izan, can I?
Uyasithinta ngoba ngabanye ndicinga ubulumko bale ndoda as indoda eyacela ntonye kuThixo. Nothing else but ubulumko. Ndiyamcela umtyalela ngewathi ndicela iBenz, ndicela 20 million, ndicela this and that.
100,000.
but wacela ubulumko yena.
Uceleni 100.
Ucele 100,000. Yeah, ngicela 100,000. No, I think, but I think it's from my side.
Yes.
I'm covered. You have unpacked it perfectly well. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Now, of course, thanks, Tammy. Of course, we told Handel, who, of course, composed this piece as well. He did it within space of 6 weeks, just the entire work. There's lots of choruses, lots of arias in it, and of course some ensembles. But it is a great piece of work. If you find time, when you sense washing up, drive a motor yak, you know, put it and listen. You'll enjoy most of the music that's here. Now, I want to draw your attention into Nansiga. That's just a few things to note about it before we get into the music. Diction will always matter in the Baroque era. And consonants are going to matter. You will see also in the music, there's no way you can ignore those if you want to make sense of what the musical direction is taking you. Just make sure it is clear and precise. The note values must be observed, especially when it comes to if phrase endings. That note value, if it's a minim, take it all the way. If it's a crochet, take it all the way until the next bar. You'll hear how actually music is actually coming out if you actually try and observe those. And also acquire, I always think this is best. Sometimes just do away with the notes, just for you to get uniformity and that clarity we spoke about earlier on. Can you have them say the words in rhythm, still the rhythms that are written there? Umzekelo, happy, 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 Solomon. You will know where they are supposed, they will know where they are supposed to breathe, they will know where they are supposed to cut, and again you will be able to tell if the vowels are as you want them. Remember we said as a conductor, know exactly how you want them to say the vowels. And then before you can actually have them sing and tire them, you will have defined a lot of things just by having them say the words in rhythm. You will actually also be able to know this is where they breathe, this is where they are supposed to sustain until the end of that particular word. I would think that's one of the best things to save their voices, especially when it comes to ingoma ezinde like this one. The unification of vowels, of course, is going to be cleaned up a lot by Lyndon Judd. Diphthongs. Diphthongs are mighty skies. I will tell you about, what I'm saying is, a diphthong will always have two vowels. In mighty, for instance, there is R and then there's E, mighty. The primary vowel, which is R in this case, must always get the longest duration. It must be much more prominent. Mighty, not mighty. Mighty, mighty Solomon. And again, as I was saying, Solomon. Think of an enunciation there. And so he wrote it. He wrote it perfectly because so is always on the downbeat, or rather a stronger beat compared to the lomon part of it. It's Solomon. Don't say Solomon, because you'll be actually misaccentuating the word, and it's going to give us things that are not supposed to be there. Ne? Those are the few things to note before we actually ask him to play with us. It's a long song. We'll do what we can to actually try and effect some of these things. And then I'll also be talking more about some of those characteristics we spoke about earlier on. Try and actually make sense about them within the music. Ne? Okay.
One, two.
Okay. It is allegro. It's not written here, but my recollection says it's allegro.
Yeah.
It's not written here, but Let's see if this tempo will do us a favor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. All right. Oh, sorry. So we don't have the music, no? Okay, that was rather too fast for us. Oh, Olajwabi. My Lord, my word. All right. Right, okay. Let me first of all tell you that, for the people are looking, or maybe again, it's not only them, there's more people there for 800. Yes. I just want to draw your attention into the opening phrase, the singing part.
Sure.
Of course, this opening motif there, bam, 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 you will once in a while hear that. That's one of those motifs that we were talking about earlier on. It becomes, it comes to your head that you don't forget. Whenever it comes, it reminds you there's something that you must actually pay attention into. So, listen to how the song starts. Can you do just the first, the opening part, a bit slower than I was doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Yes. So that section, look at how everybody's singing together. If we're to look at the music vertically, this way, everyone is together. So that makes it a homophonic kind of entry. When everybody sings at the same time, same rhythm for the most part, that's homophony. Note that. That's how we open the song. So that goes until bar 12, 13, 14, 15, 12, 13, 14. Eh? We're going on from there. And then the first choir goes. This is upbeat 2, or before we turn the page, from page 3 to page 4. Bar 15. Can you play that? Maybe take a beginning of the bar? I don't mind if you need to know it. Just that upbeat. Pam, 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 pim, pam. Bam, 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 bim, bam. Yes, listen to exactly what he's playing. Only play that. Bam, 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 bim, bam. One. This is the upbeat.
Oh, okay.
That is your first choir.
Yes.
And listen to what's happening. Oh, I forgot to also mention that we are dealing with a double chorus. There was a double chorus with the African piece that we were looking at earlier on. There's a double chorus here. You always must help yourself by making sure you are differentiating for yourself. Put that kind of sign that will indicate this is first choir, second choir. Because the score as it is can easily confuse, especially umdonge work conduct. If we are kwazubenzele so that they see that that's the second choir. So the second choir in this case is singing in bar 5. They are singing exactly. Second choir, bar 5. Listening to that piece of music, it is exactly the same as what we had earlier on in bar 3. Yes. Bar 3 was saying, bam, pi, ba, bam, pi, bam, pi, ba. There's quiet. And then the second choir, yam, pi, ba, bam, pi, bam. So that says now, our imitation begins. So, first choir sings, and then the second choir responds, singing exactly the same music. It's a direct mirror, perfect copy of what was actually sung by the first choir. Next. Note that. Let's try and continue. Maybe take it from the second choir in bar 5 and then see if you can continue from there. Go on. he says happy, happy, happy Solomon. He's starting in another section, not a section per se, another motive, if you want to call it that. This is bar 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm talking about the first choir again. First choir, bar 7, top of page 4. Say what? Where he says happy, happy, happy Solomon. Ne? Yes. So the first choir is singing that phrase in Njaya. Again, what I want to say here, considering that we are repeating the word happy, 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 it's about 3 times. He said something earlier on about something that we actually can have there as a lift, or something that will actually make the text much more clearer by saying happy, happy, happy Solomon, without thinking of that as a breath or a rest, but for it to have a clearer kind of diction and enunciation, happy, happy, happy Solomon, as opposed to happy, happy, happy Solomon. It's not going to let you define it if you actually want to make it one phrase. Yeah, some of us like doing those one phrases. It is a suggestion. However, if you think you like it your way, then it's okay. But again, as I was saying, look at where Solomon is. The word Solomon is on the downbeat. The Lomon part must not be forced. Just make sure you enunciate to say Solomon, not the Solomon. And then if you do it that way, you also are giving way to the second choir that must respond, in saying, happy, happy, happy Solomon. Ndifuna ke ujonge something. Look at the soprano line. Firstly, from the first choir. Can you play the soprano? Yes, that's the first soprano. Ya ba, ya bam bam bim ba ba ba. Can you play as the soprano now? Play as the soprano now in the second choir. They could have been trying to do an imitation of what the first sopranos were doing, but instead they are elevating the sound. So that elevation also talk to into that is happening that needs your recognition. Same is happening with the alto line. Can you play the alto line of the first choir, please? Thank you. Now the alto line of the responding. Yes. Yes. Do you see what's happening? What I was trying to say? So a second choir is actually elevating what the first choir was trying to say. Ne? And then we have a late entry by the tenors and basses. They say, happy, 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 happy Solomon. So what's happening here? I want to draw attention into what's happening in the tenors of the second choir. Can you take it from where the tenors start singing before the turn of the page? Can you play just the tenor line? Bim, 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 ba, ba. Yes, yes. While everybody was saying happy, happy, happy Solomon, they are given a bit of an elongated kind of rhythm. It is happy, happy, happy. There's an intention there. Recognize what Handel is trying to do there. Make sure those tenors are still able to actually, elevate the elongation that we see there. That is, this is the second tenors in bar 21, page 5. Just the first tenors. Everybody else, for instance, look at the sopranos, top of the page, 21, and look at the basses, who are the only ones sticking with happy, happy Solomon. Can you play the soprano line, please? Take it from this. No, it's fine. It starts there. But happy, happy. Once again, 2, 3, and then the bass line. Still moving. The same fashion they were doing earlier on. Now, there's something else as led by the altos of the second choir, which are saying, happy. Can you take us there, altos of the second choir? Happy. Basically, yes, it's nothing new except they are taking us back to that what we had. The happy, happy, happy. They are starting something that everybody is going to imitate. Those people are coming as if form here, sopranos of the second choir, the tenors of the first choir, and the sopranos of the first choir. They are doing exactly what the altos were doing here. The basses, the tenors of the second choir as well are together with these people. So the tenors and altos are on happy, happy, happy Solomon. The other ones are responding. Now look at what's happening, the bars 22 and 23. Just the soprano line from 22 and 23, sir, please.
The top
Soprano line, first choir, until the end of that line. Yes. Once again, just the happy, happy Solomon, the first two. Mbe, mbe.
first.
Yes. Notice how now we actually have the sequence which is approached in terms of change of key. We're moving from the tonic key, which was in
D major.
D major. We're moving to the dominant key here, which is A. The sopranos are leading there. They are actually doing this in a new key, the dominant key, and yet we are approaching what we see as E sequential build-up.
Yes.
Ne? Look exactly at what's happening there. A pity now that we actually cannot sing this song, and maybe even if we were to play, you know, it maybe so because the best way we can do it now is always have to stop and have it played for us. I'm sure it will make much more sense in that way. Ne? But if we were to sing it, it was going to be much clearer with all the voices splitting. Ngoku we are referring to one voice, it's probably not going to make much more sense, but we will try our best. Ne? So I wanted to draw your attention into the fact that there, on bar 23, we're starting a new key, the dominant key. Ne? Happy, happy, happy Solomon. End of that line. Look at what is done by the first choir. After they sing happy, happy Solomon, and then there's something. Can you play that last bar? Happy. Abanye bati. Happy. Look at what's happening in the second choir. Play the second choir in response. Totally the same music. And again, homophony. They are all singing at the same time once again. The rhythm is the same. Happy. Nabanye second choir responds the very same way. Happy. Ne? So it's a homophonic imitation. Exactly what the first choir was singing is sung by the second choir. Going on to the next page. Can you take it from happy, happy both choirs and then go on? Happy first choir. Thank you. Stop again. You see exactly what the first choir was doing. The second choir is responding. It's more like a call and response thing, but the first choir says it. The second choir says it. They now again take us back momentarily to the home key of D in bar 27. Can you take us there? Happy, happy Solomon? I'm gonna heaven, heaven. Yes, heaven. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first choir. Listen to the second choir. Do you see anything different there? Still the same. So again, the imitations are still there. The mirroring, they are actually repeating exactly what that first choir was doing in the home key, which is momentarily, because immediately after that, it takes us back to the dominant key of A. We're going on. Can you do both these choirs and go on? P, bam, pim, pam, P first choir and then second choir. Key off A now. Happy, happy so. And then happy, happy, happy so. Eat it. Have a blessed day. Thank you. So, what is going to be important here is everybody being alert and aware of what is happening. While that first choir is there, that second choir must keep on responding. There is going to be a call, there's going to be a response. We call it imitations. And now, fortunately, they are still happening homophonically. And it's nice when those choirs are there, depending on how you want to have them stand. You can have them in block forms so that it's clear what they do. It's nice when you have them, throwing these voices, and then these are responding from what's happening there. The echoing comes out nicely if you do it like that. And then I want you to note that when we come here, this section is now so relaxed. We actually are, can we start it now from 32? 32. This first one. Response. Yes. Can I also draw attention into something? Look at what's happening in the bass line. Bar 33 or 32 midway. Bum, 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 bee, bum, bum. Can you play for me the bass line there? Can you now play the tenor line? Can you play the tenor line? Can you hear that? That's the same note? Exactly. Tenors are singing the same note with the basses. Ya, ba, ya, ba, ba, ba. Basses are singing. Ya, ba. So it's not going to be easy calling for more support and elongation.